It's time for the main event. It's the Shoe Shot.
No, they want to see me doing bad, but I'm good.
¿Qué onda, vatos locos? Damas y caballeros, it's your boy Dave in the 702 coming back at you for that ultimate boxing podcast recap known as The Shoe Shine. Joining me all the way from the city of brotherly love, Philly Irish, Drew Evo. ¿Qué pasa, homie?
What's up, Dave?
Good to see you as always, Drew. Big winner. If you guys didn't know, we have a football show on Thursday nights, Tailgate Talk. And Drew was telling me you cashed in big this weekend on a parlay. Tell everybody how much you made. Or maybe you shouldn't. Maybe they just might go out and mug you in the mean streets of Philly.
Yeah, probably.
But you won a five-team parlay, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. And for once, guys, so you don't know, Drew bet on my team. Drew bet on the 49ers beating the Dallas Cowboys. Sorry, Dallas Cowgirls. Oh, we almost blew that one, Drew. I bet you were nervous, just like every 49er fan. You're in the fourth quarter, you're like, gosh, shit, they're going to choke again.
I'm like, these fucking Niners.
But they came through clutch. Obviously, guys, I'm glad to have everyone here. I see Jasmine Love right in the comments. First one here. Appreciate everybody joining us because there's so much other shit you could be doing, Drew. It's not Thanksgiving week. I'm way ahead of myself. It's Halloween week. Everybody's excited to get dressed up and go out and party on Thursday. Shout out to Wile E. Coyote. Everybody's wondering what's going to go on in Vegas this week. Well, this weekend, I'm going. It's not only going to be Dias de los Muertos weekend. It's also going to be First Friday in downtown Las Vegas on Friday. And I'm going to the fights ringside. Shout out to the homie Fonzie619 getting those ringside tickets for Saturday. Golden Boy boxing at the Virgin Hotel Casino in Las Vegas. And Drew, wouldn't you know it? I saw it on my timeline on X that tickets for this weekend's Golden Boy event are 50% off. That's right. Should I give that tweet to Fonzie who bought us the ringside tickets? Hey, they're discounted now. Come on, they're half off now.
I should have known they were going to be discounted.
So typically these smaller events, this is going to be headlined by Floyd Schofield, upcoming prospect. I think I sat next ringside to his mother during that last event at Cosmopolitan. Next to his family, I was sitting there ringside. So that's the main event. But Gabriela Fundora, the sister out of Coachella Valley of Sebastian Fundora, both of them champions, Drew. I spoke to her in March. She is going for a fight against an Argentinian champion with 3 titles. She brings 1 title, undisputed. She could be undisputed. And wouldn't that be some shit if she wins this on Saturday, becomes undisputed, and her brother becomes undisputed at 154? Never has that happened. I mean, it's wild. It's a long shot.
It's never going to happen anyway.
All right. Drew says it's never going to happen. Friday, we got some boxing right here on YouTube. You guys can watch that. ProBox, Belfast, Ireland. Drew McCrory, that's the guy who lost to Lamont Roach. And speaking of breaking news, that's kind of, you guys, if you follow the sport of boxing, you probably already heard. Let's see. I was reading the chat here. Sexy bunnies. Okay, we're gonna be sexy bunnies. What, Drew? Any costume ideas? Are you gonna be anything on Thursday?
Myself.
Yeah, I'm gonna be the guy who doesn't give a shit. I never enjoyed dressing up, but a couple of breaking news items that came across this weekend. The much anticipated return of a self face of boxing. I guess he considers himself partially a face of boxing. I'm talking about none other than Gervonta Tank Davis. That fight's off. You heard that, Drew?
Yeah.
Lamont Roach?
Yeah, I heard that shit.
That's off? Wow, that's off. Okay, what else did I hear? Sena Estrada, guys. We were talking about women's boxing champions. I got to see her fight last year here at the Palms Casino. In a unification match, one that she won against the, what was she, from Costa Rica? That was a pretty interesting fight, Drew. She retired.
Fucking Chris Maddox.
That's right, from DAZN. She says she's got other plans, and that happens. Shout out to Carlos M., Wile E. Coyote. Yeah, she retired at the height of her career as a champion out of East Los Angeles. She retires, and the question is, did she retire because she's pregnant? I mean, already she just got married, baby making time. I mean, she's like, hey, it's time to, I guess. I don't have any Bridges is in the middle of pregnancy, right? Another former world champion. Well, Sinisa retires, and today, obviously, the thumbnail, we're going to be talking about Regis Prograis, former two-time 140-pound champion. Didn't look great at all. Looked absolutely awful. My hometown in San Francisco against Devin Haney, getting dropped uncounted. I lost count how many times he got dropped. He gets dropped twice again. He's now 35 years old, and obviously the big news is whether it's time to hang him up. Drew's going to walk away from the mic very quickly. Shout out to Carlos M. He says, Dave, you should dress up like Zorro once in your life. I did. Yeah, that's not a bad costume idea. Can I pick that up at the last minute here? Even in Las Vegas, I don't know where to get last minute costumes. Not a bad idea. That is not a bad idea at all. Let me know what you guys are dressing. If you guys are going to dress up, if you're going to pass out candy, if you're going to party at home, that'd be great too. Wiley Coyote says he looked awful. Put your hands up too. Obviously you're probably talking about Regis Prograis out of New Orleans, now 35 years old. After being dropped twice, let me bring this up some pictures here. Regis he just seemed like he typically has shorter arms. He got destroyed by Devin Haney. I'm just going to go recap it. He had really a difficult time closing the range and getting in range of Jack Catterall, another slick southpaw, both of them southpaws. So it was a southpaw battle. A lot of people said this fight was boring early, but Regis did get to knock him in the 5th round, and it looked like a flash knockdown, and things got pretty interesting. You thought, oh man, Regis is going to win this fight. Regis is going to be back in the conversation to fight maybe a young champion like Teofimo Lopez, maybe Rayo Valenzuela. I'm like, man, he knocked him down in the 5th, but things quickly turned around and all for the worse. As Regis himself was dropped twice in the 9th round, guys. And I'm just going to go out and say it. Carlos M says I think it was a close fight. I thought it was a lot closer than these scorecards, all three. But obviously, in the backyard of Catterall, they wasn't going to give Regis no shot. Regis is the guy, the ultimate road warrior, who fought, at the height of his popularity and athletic ability, went to fight Josh Taylor and walked away with a close loss, controversial loss there in his career. But like I said, a 2-time former world champion. Jack Catterall also losing a very close, contentious, controversial loss to none other than Josh Taylor. And Josh Taylor, that's an interesting fight, guys, because I was at the fight for Undisputed with a lot of people in our YouTube community during the height of the pandemic at the Virgin. Nonetheless, where I'm going this weekend, the former Hard Rock Hotel. I was at that fight where Josh Taylor and Jose Ramirez out of Fresno, California fought for Undisputed to less than 3,000 people. There was like a capacity cap because of COVID. I mean, we all had to fucking wear masks still. I was even there, I think at the weigh-in when their two camps exchanged and came to blows pretty much in the hallways of the Virgin Hotel in Las Vegas. If you guys are familiar with that, the old place where they used to do the rehab pool parties, basically in those hallways, those two camps were getting down. And we all know how that ended. Now 140 pounds, now all a bunch of young champions, Teofimo Lopez, Raya Valenzuela. We've got guys knocking on the door. Devin Haney, the WBC champ, is he still? So lots of things shifting and changing in the 140-pound division. Drew, Jack Catterall now seems like a go-to opponent for anybody. They're talking Liam Parro, who is a champion, also looking to defend his title, also a DAZN fighter. Very easy to make with Eddie Hearn. You got Teofimo Lopez looking for a dance partner. I hear he's temporarily, taking a layoff. I mean, it always seems like he's taking a layoff. Obviously, he's always bickering with Bob Arum. Rayo Valenzuela. I mean, all these young fighters now, it's time for the young guys. But I got to ask you, Drew, what did you think of Regis Prograis' performance?
I thought it was a really close fight. And a razor thin as a really close. I scored it 113-112 for Jack Catterall.
Even with the two knockdowns.
Even with the two knockdowns, I think most of the fight, tell you the truth, he didn't really do a lot of this fight. It was more like some of these rounds, he would just move around, not throw a punch in part of this fight. And I scored those rounds easily for Regis. And, it just, I really look at it. He knocked out Catalog too. So.
Yeah, he knocked him down in the 5th round. Drew, those early rounds were really kind of swing rounds to me, but I always seem to, I do favor the aggressors most of the time. He's in the guy's backyard. So missing wildly, but being the aggressor, those were difficult rounds to score. Then you had the 2 late knockdowns, and then we saw what happened with his legs. I thought that on one of those knockdowns, he suffered maybe a knee injury or he rolled his ankle pretty hard, but you saw that he was pretty frustrated with his foot or leg, an injury that he particularly probably sustained. I didn't watch any post-fight press conferences, but Wile E. Coyote says right here, it was frustrating to watch. Now he's talking about going to BFKC, Bare Knuckle Fighting Championships, to get a beat down over there some more. It could be possible. I have seen Austin Trout had a lot of success in his late 30s over at Bare Knuckle Fighting, but I mean, you also have Paulie Malignaggi in his late 30s trying bare knuckle fighting and losing to MMA fighters. So it's not a given. It's kind of sad that Regis Prograis, you feel like maybe he didn't make enough money that he's talking about, well, shit, I'll just go fight bare knuckle fighting. It's kind of sad to think.
I look at it like this. I think he had one foot out the door in this fight. Like Regis, maybe he should move up to 147. He even said, I think I might move up to 147.
He seems kind of small for the division, but if he's trouble making weight, and like, that's the thing. Should Regis Prograis decide to stick around? He is a former world champion. He's a great name on somebody's resume, but again, you always got to ask yourself this conversation when you're a fighter in your late 30s, when you're obviously past your prime. Are you prepared to be a gatekeeper? Is that what Regis Prograis wants in this late stage of his boxing career? Is now to fight, I don't know, Boots Ennis, to be a name for Boots Ennis? Boots Ennis already has a bunch of, I think he fought a 140-pound former champion that moved up in weight. I mean, do you want to be that guy to Mario Barrios coming up? Stay busy, tune-up fight, big name, but
I don't know. Like, it's just something you look at. And no, I didn't have no tied rounds and everything. Box. I didn't have no tied rounds. I actually gave a lot of those. I actually gave rounds that Callo was not being aggressive to Regis Prograis. And if you look at it, how are we going to say, oh, it's a tied round? You can't, like, if you look at it, I had it 7 rounds. You could have it 7 rounds to 5 and with 2 knockdowns. And then he
suffered his own knockdown.
Yeah.
Okay.
He suffered his own knockdown, which gave it a 113, 112 scorecard.
Well, Drew, none of the judges seemed to feel that way. They gave Jack Catterall a much wider margin, but against that fight against Josh Taylor, he ended up being in that position where he felt absolutely robbed. That would make Jack Catterall, he has 30 wins, 1 loss, only lost to Josh Taylor. That really make him undefeated. Undefeated. He suffered a close loss. He fights like these other fighters. Sandor Martin, who has a major win over Mikey Garcia, came up short shockingly against Teofimo Lopez. He's in that vein of boxers that can really work the pure sweet science on another fighter. Not terribly exciting to watch, but you got to respect the guy. He's a good boxer.
I look at it like this. I really think that there's an issue with Catalog when it comes to that type of fight and everything. Jack Catalog's got a gas tank issue. That was it. That's his issue. Like, if you comparing those fighters with him, he has a gas tank issue, and he would not. And like, if you want to look at it with a fight with Sandor Martin, I would pick Sandor Martin to beat Jack Catalog because Jack Catalog has a gas tank issue. So we look at it. I looked at a lot of shit. It's like Okay, but on paper, this fight really was not a good matchup on paper. Like, the styles just did not go and everything. But it turned out to be a better fight than what people expected.
Okay.
And everything because of the knockdowns, the drama in it. But Kellogg, in rounds that made the fight really close for me, he was not really doing anything. And I really look at, like, if you see it like this, like, if this is how I would do it. If both fighters had a knockdown in the same round, the more aggressive fighter, in my opinion, or the guy that was nailing the more meaningful punches, besides the knockdown, would be the one that I put as the winner of that round. It makes sense. But like, if you look at a lot of this was not a wide fight. This was a very close, razor thin fight. And now, like, of course, we were going to have that type of scorecards in the UK. Like,
You know what, Drew? In the UK, they seem to favor the sweet science better. I think they respect the sweet science more. They respect counter punchers a lot more. And I was giggling just now, Drew, because I know it's difficult when we podcast, when we're on live, guys. We want to interact with you guys, and it's difficult to get our train of thought across and also glance and look at comments, so you can get distracted really easily. But shout out to Sin City Syndicate. He says, let's talk about those UFC broken jaws. I'm assuming and you made a reference about political. Yes, it's election season. It's absolutely... I'm absolutely over it. I can't watch YouTube without a commercial every second. And interesting you said that, Sin City Syndicate, because I have this picture. Maybe most of you guys have heard excerpts or seen that. Obviously, Joe Rogan, the biggest podcaster there is, speaking of podcasts, and Donald Trump was on there this week. And Donald Trump himself, a former boxing promoter behind some Mike Tyson fights and Trump and whatnot. Oh yeah, Drew's looking slick now. Drew, even Trump, I got this picture. Even Trump this week in that podcast asked Joe Rogan, is boxing okay? Is boxing going to, he asked Joe Rogan, is boxing, he's wondering if boxing can be saved. And however you plan to vote this coming election season, I just hope boxing, can we make boxing great again? Because even Donald Trump is concerned if boxing is seen as best day, if the best of boxing is behind us. Joe Rogan said he loves boxing. And of course, we know that Dana White is considering an entry into professional boxing in 2025.
So I'm really on a topic, and, Dave, remember I tell you I don't really watch much boxing content outside of this, and maybe a couple more shows and everything. And it's not because I don't have time to, it's because it just doesn't amuse me anymore. And everything, because everybody talks about the same shit. It's like a tape recorder. Let's rewind that. Oh, okay, let's look at it like this. But and the big topic is matchmaking. And this is my issue and everything. People lately are really questioning matchmaking.
Okay.
And everything.
Right. Because the week before, everybody on social media was going after the matchmakers for what they say. Why would you put in so-and-so coming off a loss against this tough Russian? Nobody said he was tough the week before, but now all of a sudden.
So I want to say something to these people out there that want to comment on that, and they want to comment on their and do their shows and say that shit and everything, and act like let's look at it like this. The question will be, do you guys get paid for matchmaking? No. Does anybody give a fuck about your opinion about matchmaking? No. And you want to know why? Because if they did, you'd probably make some fucking money off of it. You don't get paid to make matches, to be the matchmaker of fighters. And here's the fucked up thing. This is most motherfuckers that act like they want the best match fights in boxing. How could you want the best fights in boxing if you're explaining, I would have put this guy in there with that guy and everything. Let's look at it like this. Why would you say like, that PBC fucked Tim Sue's career up? No, they didn't. No, they didn't. Because if we're looking at this right now, Tim Sue was the victim of the 99% to 1 ratio that he should have won that fight, and he got his ass kicked by a puncher's chance. Because they put him in there with a knockout artist. They put him in there with someone that had a puncher's chance, that if he nailed that punch on Tim Sue, it might have hurt him. And what happened? That guy nailed Tim Sue with that punch, and it fucking hurt him, and he got knocked out with it. So how can we call that bad matchmaking?
Ooh. And
why do these motherfuckers that want to be insiders and everything want to say how you matchmake when you, on the other hand, say I want the best fucking fights possible? Make your fucking mind up on what you want, okay? You don't get paid because you're not getting hired as a matchmaker because you're probably the dumbest motherfuckers on this fucking planet. Because let's look at it like this right now. It's time to be serious and take these glasses off. These are really good glasses, by the way.
Yeah, and by the way, shout out to everybody joining us just now. I see the chat's going now. Nando Lamas, haven't seen you in here. He's got a question. Whoo, so Delmita's in the house too. Shout out to everybody in the chat.
And like, come on. Like, let's look at it like this. When you are boxing, you're taking a risk. You're risking your health, first and foremost. But when you got dumb, low IQ motherfuckers out there, want to think they can do a matchmaker's job better than someone that makes a lot of money giving you your proper entertainment, you look at them and you be like this. Oh my God, you are the biggest fucking dick rider there is. And you probably, let's look at it like this right now. And I don't give a fuck about certain people. Tell you the truth, they're probably the biggest cocksuckers on the YBTC. What the fuck they call that shit?
I need an update. What did I miss?
And look, Dave, you didn't miss much because Drew's got to fucking because you know me for so long, Dave. You know by now that Drew's going to keep it 100, even if it's calling somebody out and everything, acting like they know what the fuck people know what the fuck they talking about matchmaking. If you were talking about matchmaking, you would be making that money right now, but you're not. Just do what you do best. Just talk about the sport on your shows and everything. Give your takes and everything. Oh, not like PBC fucking ruined this guy's career. We all know you guys hate PBC. A lot of people hate PBC because how they fucking do shit and everything. And you want to know something? They ain't changing. You want to know why? Because you fucking fans allow it. And at the end of the day, it's really fucking crazy. By now, people don't realize boxing is a dying sport. And if it dies on the way, it's not because of the promoters, it's because of the fucking fans.
Because of us, because of the fans.
Because the fans allowed them to fucking fight putsovers. The fucking fans
You talking about Gervonta Tank Davis? I have a high respect for Lamont Roach. There's some conflicting chat going on here. Of course, Sin City Syndicate, like usual, says that boxing is horse racing, like tennis. Of course, I think he was subscribed to the fact that boxing is dying in the U.S. But then we had somebody new in the chat here. Shout out to Boxing and Tannic. He says boxing is on a modern golden age. I don't know what you mean. He was saying, I think, to me, if you say that only because Trump said it, but it is not true. This is a great era for boxing fans.
Did he say golden age? Golden age was fucking Oscar De La Hoya versus Bernard Hopkins. Golden age was fucking Felix Trinidad versus Oscar De La Hoya. Golden age was fucking Marco Antonio Barão versus Eric Morales trilogy. Fucking golden age was
I'm so happy. I'm so happy you. I'm happy you brought that up.
Fucking golden age. If you don't know shit about golden age, fuck, this era ain't the fucking golden age. This fucking era is the fucking penny age.
Damn.
And the fucked up thing is,
you need some water.
Nah, I had some soda, by the way, and it made me feel a lot better. And fucking come on, the golden age of boxing is the past. It's just like the golden age of comic books, like the fucking Crisis to Infinite Earth. Fucking the Secret Avengers, Final Crisis, Infinite Crisis. Yeah, I'm a comic book freak. I don't give a fuck. It's fucking examples. I really don't get how people think this is an era, a gold era, a golden age era.
Well, Boxing Tonic is here. It could be, I'm just going to speculate, because this 2024, we have seen a record number under the 4-belt era of unifications and undisputed matchups. And we're about to see a rematch of Usyk versus Tyson Fury. It could be perhaps because of the influence of the Saudis. We're getting some pretty big super fights. But golden era, man, that is up for a serious debate. One that merits getting the phone line back up, which I don't have the phone line.
Let's look at it like this, Dave. This dude wants to say golden era. Golden era, nobody ducked the other person.
Well, that is a big problem. Yeah, while we might have these ultimately, we got all these unifications undisputed. We have a lot of ducking going on in a lot of divisions, including the welterweight division. 135 pounds with Gervonta Tank Davis. None of those people want to fight. William Zepeda is number one, and nobody wants to fight him. He didn't seem like he's jumping at the bit to fight a world champion. Lomachenko might retire. But while I have Sonteo Media in the right here in the chat, Sonteo, are you coming this Saturday to the Virgin? Because speaking of matchmakers of the golden era, Roberto Diaz, who I follow on Twitter, who I met, Sonteo Media introduced me to Roberto Diaz, formerly the matchmaker of Golden Boy Boxing. Probably going to run into him and Rick Glazer. And don't tell me how you feel about Rick, Drew, because I might see him.
The voucher thief, I know. We know.
To see both of those guys, to see Rick, who now works for Golden Boy, and to see Roberto on the same night. But by the way, Roberto Diaz had a tweet. I did not know he was a 49er fan. Did I get that tweet right, Roberto? You're a Niner fan? Shout out to the Niner gang. But yeah, that was a definitely... One of the things, Drew, that you brought up is how many people on this platform on YouTube or X, which is a major platform for boxing, are fanagers, right? Fanagers. Everybody seems to be a matchmaker now because we follow the sport, because we have the ability to produce content and boxing podcasts. Everybody seems to be a matchmaker when in reality, very few people have ever actually done it. That's why when I met Roberto Diaz and I know Roberto Diaz's story, he literally went from being a boxing fan like you and I to meeting his favorite boxer in a shopping center in San Diego, to parlaying that into a member of a boxing team, to parlaying that into a job to Golden Boy, to parlaying that into matchmaker extraordinaire for Oscar De La Hoya's Golden Boy Productions, to parlaying that into the greatest boxing trilogy, one of the greatest Mexican boxing trilogies, being the catalyst behind that, which you just mentioned. I mean, that was truly a golden era. So shout out to Roberto. I hope to run into you this Saturday night at the Virgin Casino. Yeah, Nando Lama says it's a truly extraordinary story that I think gives a lot of hope to people that maybe you might be talking about, fanagers, that hey, if a guy off the street that's not in the boxing industry can eventually become one of the best matchmakers of an era, Well, shit. Then my opinion must be I could do it too, but you can't. We can't. That time has passed, guys. The internet didn't even exist. Barely existed in those days. You know, it was a completely different era of time.
At it like this. I'm gonna look at it like this. First of all, Eric, how about those fucking Bengals? How about my Eagles whooping that ass?
Eric, who you talking to? Lorda?
Yeah, he's a Bengals fan. How about shout out to Eric, man? He's a good dude. His team got his ass kicked. Got their asses kicked by my Eagles, by the way. But good dude, by the way.
Oh, Carlos says Morales should have never fought Barrera and Pacquiao all those times. Bad match. He says that was bad matchmaking. Of course, this is a safe space to put whatever you want in the chat. Oh man, I'm so done with this election, guys. Put it in the chat. What's the score Monday Night Football?
Drew's not voting.
I know Sin City Syndicate knows what's going on Monday Night Football. I can't believe it. It looks like the Dodgers are on their way to a sweep. I can't believe that. Oh, my God. What's the Dodgers score right now? You guys could be doing so much. Yankees going down in flames, says Nando Lamas. It seems like it. And Carlos says, I was being sarcastic. Oh, man. Yeah, no, I appreciate all the back and forth banter in the chat.
Man.
That's what this is all about.
Does this fucking dude realize that the Undisputed era, Undisputed used to be a 3-belt era? And it was actually better fights for Undisputed at that time?
Well, we got the IBF now. We have this glorious IBF who have stripped Canelo Alvarez of that one title. And now William Skoll, as of last week, Drew, is a member of the exclusive Club of Champions, the 168-pound champion. Drew, Canelo Alvarez... I heard some very interesting news. They signed the silver Olympic medalist to, I believe he'll be managed by Canelo's team. But they are talking about that the conversation to get this fight either in the UK or Japan as the next fight for Canelo Alvarez. Eubanks Jr., who looked pretty damn good in his last fight, got a big stoppage. That's exactly what Team Canelo needed to see. But
you know what?
Are you a little bit disappointed that this is real? I mean, he is ranked amongst the top 10 in all sanctioning bodies. Chris Eubanks Jr. at super middleweight, and I say so be it. At this time, this is the farewell tour. If Canelo wants to go fight in the UK, and the sanctioning bodies approve it, he has a live body. He's in the top 15. So be it. If he wants to do the UK tour, but what about you, Drew?
What a fucking waste! Like seriously. Fucking Chris Eubanks is a fucking waste of fucking space and boxing. Seriously, he's nothing like his fucking father. Nothing. He will never be like his dad. I'm sorry. He's nothing like his fucking dad. Unfortunately, he's nothing like him. He'll never be anything close to being like him. Just like Conor Benn will never be like his dad. Have no losses at him by the time he retires, unless he retires at the right fucking time and everything. But I look at it like this.
You talk about sons not being like their dads. I have to bring up this picture. He was part of the card, the co-main. Campbell Hatton, Drew. Campbell Hatton looks just like his dad. Even the damn shorts. I was having flashbacks of the early 2000s. I mean, I'm like, he looks just like his daddy. But he ain't killing he ain't fighting like his daddy. Campbell Hatton. How do all these boxers live up to their daddy's expectations? You know what I'm saying? Look at all the boxers right now.
Look at Chavez Jr. He drinks. He fucking probably does drugs during training camp. He crits. Not like his dad does. Like a dad. His dad was never a critter like him. Fucking dye his hair fucking pink or something, or dance around in women's high heels. Like what a fucking disgrace that he was to his dad. But I look at it like this, man. Man, this and people defend the sport and everything. Like we had 6 undisputed fights in the last fucking year and everything. Yay. Oh my God!
You still upset about that? Wile E. Coyote. I saw Sugar Shane Mosley. We saw him at the Cosmo the other day at a fight. I was with my boy Fonzie, and he was the only one walking around. Fighters that were attending the event that was walking around with a TV crew. Drew. He had like his own, you see this sometimes, but like, vloggers, famous YouTubers on the Vegas streets, but he had his own camera crew and he had some phony baloney belt, and it wasn't an interim. It was like he made his own like WWE belt, and he was walking around with a, Shea Mosley thinks very highly of himself. He thinks he's world-class championship fighter.
I look at this comment and I look at him. Is that the best comeback you got, man? You're a hater. Hey, you a hater. Financial depression. Here's something else. What happens when Canelo Alvarez retires, dude? You're in another financial depression. So, yeah, hater, kiss my ass.
Well, we're all entitled to our opinions here, too. And I think it's time as the chat starts getting lit again that we bring back the phone lines, because it's lit if you start getting thumbs down. But we're all entitled to our opinions here. It could we could be upon a new golden era, or we could not be.
But you know what, Dave? When you say stupid, when you say stupid shit, I'm gonna call you out for it like that one. You a hater, and don't even know the fucking that. Once Canelo retires, you're in that fucking same depression again. So what's your fucking point, dude? What's your fucking point? What's your comeback now? You a hater.
Well, now you have to wait in the chat boxing tonic if you want to put it in there.
Yeah, wait in the chat, man. Wait in line like you're supposed to.
Oh, please. Okay.
You might be too short for the wide as it is.
What's up, Boxing Magic Mech Side?
Longest wide. That's what I tell people all the time.
Shout out to Boxing Magic Mech Side. I know he's got a YouTube channel. Go follow him on YouTube as well, guys. I believe you from the 619. Shout out to everybody from San Diego. While I have you with the Philly sunglasses, the cool look, we haven't asked Drew Evo's opinion of Boots Ennis' uncanny hookup. Well, not hookup in that sense, but suddenly the best of friends, performing buddies now. I'm talking about Bam Rodriguez coming to Philadelphia. They're hanging out. They're promoting the event. Of course, he's going to fight. I'm not happy with who Boots Ennis is fighting, a rematch with
I'm not happy with it either.
But what an uncanny. They're talking about taking Boots and Bam on a road show. Like, they're going to fight in Philly, and then they want to see him again together. What an uncanny combination, but it's working out so far, right?
Yeah, I don't like the fight either, but if nobody else in that division will fight him, I can't really, can't complain about it.
Will Philly accept Bam Rodriguez, a small Mexican fighter with open arms? Will they accept the Mexican American as a Philly type fighter?
We'll take that dude to a nice club and everything. Get that dude turned out, man. Got that dude going on. Like, come on, man. Like, seriously, he's gonna be all right.
Good. That's good to hear. Well, let's quickly segue, because I know you said we had to end this show early. It's been a great show, but this weekend there's a lot of boxing. It starts off this Friday night. McCrory, speaking of Irish and Ireland, ProBox on YouTube is headed to Belfast, Ireland. I believe Paulie Malignaggi and Chris Algieri are already there. It's going to have Javier Fortuna, who used to kind of be a contender at 135. A lot of names. Great way to segue into Friday night, into the weekend of boxing, because there's a double header on Saturday. I already said I'm going to Golden Boy event here in Las Vegas. And there's also a rematch, guys. Of course, like I said, everything gets kicked off this Friday night on ProBox. And then Saturday, we got a ton of boxing. Friday, it looks like your boy Jermaine Ortiz, he moved over to DAZN. He's fighting on DAZN on Friday night. Excuse me, I forgot about that. If you care about this Davies, I don't really care about that fight. But Conceicao versus Foster for a rematch at 130 pounds. Oshaki Foster had to go through hell and high water to become a champion at 130, only to have Robson Conceicao, a Brazilian Olympian. He's had some close fights, almost a world champion. They just gave it to homeboy. Like, they straight robbed Oshaki Foster. But I give it to Robson Conceicao, guys. He says, y'all want to see us run it back? Fine, let's run it back. Immediately, this Saturday on ESPN, you're going to get a rematch of that, Drew. Your quick thoughts on Robson Conceicao, number one, against Oshaki Foster, who had just become world champion.
It was a robbery. And, Osaki clearly won that fight one-sided and everything.
Gets robbed.
it's kind of going to be the same result again, not with the same result of him getting robbed. I think it's actually going to end in a knockout and everything. I think Foster's going to knock him out this time to make it feel like. But I want it. Good for Jermaine Ortiz and everything.
For
Good
leaving Top Rank. Yeah, he obviously didn't get the decision he hoped for against, the in-house fight. They're both in-house fighters, but obviously they think much higher of Teofimo Lopez, and so he's gone. He's left.
Hey, I look at it like this. Don't ever tell me to chill on my fucking podcast, Boxing Tonic. Don't ever tell me to chill in the chat, because this isn't Dave from 702 and Boxing Tonic. It's Dave and 702 and Philly Irish Drew Evo, first and foremost. Second of all, you have no proof or paperwork to your claim, because when was the last event actually was profitable on pay-per-view in boxing, other than Ryan Garcia and Gervonta Tank Davis? Probably the only fight that was actually profitable in the last 10 years of this sport, because every other fight that was on pay-per-view lost fucking money.
It's ironic you bring that up, because but I'm still listening to Clapback Thursdays with Oscar, and shockingly, I'm sorry, who you just brought up, Mr. Garcia and Haney, according to Oscar, the promoter, only sold 300,000 fights.
So
what does that tell you? Does that tell you Gervonta Tank Davis brought all the rest of the people? Because Ryan Garcia he brought three. I mean, Devin Haney brings 0, and Ryan Garcia brought 300,000 people to the table. That means Gervonta Tank Davis really is a star.
And I look at it like this. So Boxing Tonic Kid, you stick with me, you know a lot more shit, and you be a lot more knowledgeable by the end of the fucking night and everything. You go along and like saying bad claims and false information, man.
But to play devil's advocate, Drew, I'm happy that there are people that are still optimistic, because there are Mondays where on Mondays I'm like, like we've already branched off the football talk. I do Las Vegas content, and I'm like, sometimes on Mondays when all I got to talk about is Regis Prograis calling it quits in his career, where I feel like, man, how do I go on a boxing for talking about boxing for an hour? It's a labor of love, it's a love-hate relationship. It's that girlfriend, you know what I'm saying? It's a relationship with boxing that we all have, a love-hate relationship. We want it to succeed, and so we need that optimism, and sometimes healthy optimism is good. What's that?
You got Philly Irish Drew fucking Evo on this fucking show. Fucking same facts. Making dumbasses in chats look stupid as shit some half the fucking time. And I don't feel absolutely bad about making them look bad, because, to tell you the truth, it's going to make them a lot smarter in life.
Well, guys, there's some major shit happening in November that could currently, for 2025, change the whole pay-per-view dynamic. And we have to keep our eyes on this. And that's going to be how successful the Netflix fight is between Jake Paul and not an exhibition, and Mike Tyson. It's going to be free for every Netflix subscriber. And I think you could even buy a Netflix subscription temporarily for like $6 and catch this fight. It could really shake things up in the American market for pay-per-views, depending on how many people sit down and watch this fight between Jake Paul and Mike Tyson in November. We're just weeks away, Yes, I know he's old. Yes, I know he's not who he is. But if 25 million people tune in to watch this Netflix fight, it's going to wake up people like PBC, and, Al Heyman's not doing his health isn't doing. It's going to wake up these outfits to say, fuck, we got it all wrong with this pay-per-view. It really is the CD player in cars everybody talk about. Pay-per-view's really like a CD player. Who the fuck has a CD player anymore in their car?
If you get like 98 Civic or 98, I would call it Chrysler or something, you're going to have a CD player on it.
Well, guys, I'm excited as hell. If anybody's in Vegas, you want to have a drink this Saturday, we'll be out there Saturday at the Virgin Hotel. Hit me up on my Instagram. You guys know that. It's shoeshine_boxing, at shoeshine_boxing. If you're going to be in town, you want to have a drink, let's meet up at the Virgin. But, this fight, like I said, last minute, half-price tickets. Head on out there. You got Floyd Schofield, now 17-0. He is fighting a fighter from my mother's hometown, Querétaro, Guanajuato, Mexico. Shout out to everybody from Guanajuato. He's fighting a Mexican kid named Giron. And Drew, that is a very high altitude area and is known for the abundance of top-notch boxing gyms. In fact, a lot of top Mexican fighters go to Querétaro for that high elevation training. I've never seen him fight. I know Floyd Schofield's a special fighter, and I hope it's not just one of these fights where, you know, they find someone from Mexico to put on a showcase for Floyd. Rick Laser's probably behind it. He has a way of making people look extra special. So I expect Schofield to come away, obviously, as the victorious guy. But listen, at 168, Beck the Bully, who fought your fighter two times. Beck the Bully fought Philadelphia fighter Gabe, knocked out in one of them. But ever since that knockout, hey, he's a contender at 168. He wants to prove it that way. He's fighting David Stevens. David Stevens is 14-1. Also 14-1. Both of them having 14-1 records. 10-round super middleweight title eliminator. Interesting.
So, Tanner, we didn't bash Bam. We actually looked out for Bam this time.
Yeah, so he said that Philadelphia is going to embrace Bam Rodriguez as one of their own. And I hope that Boots is going to take, as soon as the fight is over, I hope he takes him to try both of Philadelphia's best cheesesteaks side by side.
We're going to take him to a club. We're going to take him to one of these bars, man. We'll get that dude some girls' numbers.
Drew's talking about clubbing.
Somebody's his height. Just know how short Bam is.
Just take the boy to the Phillies game. I guess Philadelphia Eagles.
We got to give him somebody's his height, though. We know Bam's short. You know, but we can get a nice Latino or a nice white girl that's close to his height.
And this is really good. Hey, if Box and Tonic, he was new, I appreciate you for coming here and pointing out your point of view. But golden era, he said, this might be the golden era of women's boxing because I've never seen better women's boxing matches in recent history. These past 2 years have had put on some of the best women's boxing. This one features Gabriela Fundora, she is the champion at 112 pounds. She holds one of the titles, Drew, and that's the sister I said of Sebastian Fundora. She is a world champion. Her opponent, also Gabriela Alanes from Argentina, holds 3 titles. Gabriela Fundora wins this Saturday. She's the undisputed champion in her weight, undisputed, the first in her family. And I asked Drew at the beginning of the show, wouldn't that be some shit if Sebastian Fundora goes on to just to wipe out the 154-pounder? Wouldn't that be some shit? They both become undisputed. Drew, I think he said, what'd you say?
Not happening. And you know what? I'm going to be nice here and everything. I'm going to be nice. If you bring me up in your podcast and get you some views, you're welcome. You're welcome.
Sin City Syndicate, I'm confused, but he says high elevation is overrated. I don't know. Canelo put on one of his best performances recently by going to Lake Tahoe and training in Tahoe. I don't know. Well, of course, I'm no world-class fighter, but he says high elevation is overrated. What else is overrated, Drew?
This fucking era. Acknowledge me now, motherfucker.
Guys, I appreciate everybody that's here. Sorry, Drew.
Hey, I put that. I'll get Google Translate to translate the Spanish. I don't know. I do know Spanish a little bit.
Oh yeah, un poquito. We're really close to the election. Obviously, guys, I appreciate the World Series is going to be wrapping up. You've got Monday Night Football. You could be doing a lot of this shit, but you were here on the Shoe Shine, and I appreciate you and all the other new subscribers. I appreciate all those people. We hit a milestone last week. I told Drew, but going forward, we can accept super chats. I'm going to set that up. Super chats, memberships. And once we get that next notification that every episode is monetized, you will be seeing a lot more of Dave in the 702 as I await that email from YouTube. But you will see that super chat and the membership probably by next Monday. So it's been a long voyage, and I appreciate everybody that's been along for the ride. Drew, any final words? Yeah.
I'm going to say something. I might be going on strike soon for my job. And I'm doing it for the old heads because old heads need more tricking money.
There you have it. There you have it. Dave in the 702 Philly Irish Drew Evo. We will be back this week. Keep tuned because Tailgate Talk's going to have to move, Drew. I think Tailgate Talk falls on Wednesday this week. Potentially keep tabs on our community post because Thursday is trick or treat. All right. We'll check you guys out next time. Peace.